The Rhoynar were river-faring people who dwelt on the banks of the immense river Rhoyne and lived in city-states along its vast network. Those city-states were Arnoy, Croyan, Goyandroa, Nisar, Sarmel, and Sarhoy. The Rhoynar occupied this region for thousands of years and for the most part lived in peace. They were a slender people with smooth olive skin, black hair, and dark eyes who practiced a number of curious customs. These included equal primogeniture, granting inheritances to the eldest child regardless of gender. Women also served in their city's armed forces and were said to fight as fiercely as men, and Rhoynar also tolerated homosexuality. Due to their origin in city-states, they titled their rulers princes and princesses. The Rhoynar worshipped a number of river-themed nature gods. Their primary god was Mother Rhoyne, the personification of the river Rhoyne itself. Other gods included the Old Man of the River, a turtle god, and his adversary, the Crab King, who fought the Old Man of the River for dominion of all life below the flowing water. The giant turtles known as the Old Man of the River, named after a Rhoynish lesser deity, were held as consorts of the Mother Rhoyne and considered sacred. The Rhoynar used water magic to defend themselves from enemies, and were said to be the first to learn the art of iron making, and even introduced Andals to it. It is easy to believe these assumptions to be true, as remnants of Rhoynish outposts had been found in Andalus, and it would not be the first time that men learned of the working of iron from the Rhoynar, since the Valyrians themselves learned the art from Rhoynar as well, although the Valyrians eventually surpassed them. The Valyrians proved to be ungrateful students though, as through time Valyrian freehold's expansion from the east threatened to overtake the Rhoynar lands. At first, the Rhoynar welcomed the new arrivals, claiming that all men were welcome to share in the bounty of Mother Rhoyne. Valyrian adventurers, merchants, and settlers expanded into western Essos since the end of the Valyrian-Giscari Wars thousands of years earlier, but over time they began to exert more and more influence on the region. The freehold had established the city of Volantis at the mouth of the Rhoyne, and as the years passed, they attempted to take further control of territory along the river. They also founded two other cities, Norvos and Kohor, on tributaries of the Rhoyne, much further to the north. And by around year 950 before Aegon's landing, the two civilizations came into open conflict. For some 2.5 centuries the Rhoynish wars were fought between the Valyrians and the Rhoynar. Most of the wars were short-lived and local in nature, since the Rhoynish were by then as powerful as Geese at its height, and Valyrian settlers in Volantis and other colonies had only few dragons at their disposal. While they could call upon dragon riders from Valyria when the conflicts turned dire, as soon as the riders left, the fortunes of war turned once again, though the most significant factor was that of the unity, since Valyrian colonies worked together and aided one another in these conflicts, and in contrary, the individual Rhoynar city-states fiercely protected their independence, and, for the most part, did not present a united front against the invaders. The wars included the First Turtle War, the War of Free Princes, the Second Turtle War, the Fisherman's War, the Salt War, the Fur Turtle War, the War on Dagger Lake, and the Spice War, among many others. Rhoynar built Sarhoy as a great port city made of pink stone with canals and saltwater gardens. During the Second Spice War, 3 Dragonlords and men from Volantis sacked the city. The city's warriors were slaughtered, and its children sold into slavery. This unprecedented Valyrian aggression escalated the centuries-long conflict, and eventually led to the defeat of the Rhoynar about 700 years before Aegon's landing. The Rhoynar responded to the destruction of Sarhoy by uniting under Prince Garin of Croyan, the Wonder of the Rhoyne who temporarily made Valyria tremble. Garin led a Rhoynish army of 250,000, the largest land army Essos had ever seen. He moved south along the Rhoyne, with his army inflicting defeat after defeat, and in a massive battle at Volonteris, they slaughtered the Valyrian army 100,000 strong, killing 2 of the dragons and wounding the 3rd. Garin the Great conquered Salhoris, Valisar, and Volontaris, yet these victories were short-lived because the panicked Volantines called upon Motherland to send aid, which came in the form of 300 dragons. The Valyrians crushed Garin's army and managed to capture Garin. Odd enough, Rhoynar were finally defeated at the time they joined together to fight their enemy, and the enemy finally took threats seriously. Princess Nymeria of Nisar, fearing the enslavement of the people of her own city, gathered every ship that remained upon the ruin and filled them full of as many women and children as they could carry. She led these 10,000 ships down the ruin, past Sarhoy, and into the Summer Sea. During and after the Rhoynar evacuation, the Valyrians destroyed the great cities of the Rhoynish realm. Their massive ruins are still easily observed from the ruin. Nymeria, fleeing Valyrian wrath, led her followers on dangerous journeys to the Basilisk Isles, Satorios, Nath, the Summer Isles, the Stepstones, and finally Dorne in southern Westeros. There, Nymeria married the Dornish lord, Mors Martell of the Sandship, and helped him consolidate Dorne under his rule through Nymeria's War. Under the rule of House Nymeros Martell of Sunspear, the Rhoynar have lived and intermingled with the native Dornish since that time. Croyan, nicknamed the Festival City, was once the richest and most splendid of the cities along the ruin. Its streets were said to be made of water and its houses of gold. It contained the colossal Palace of Love, a magnificent island fastness. According to legend, men of Volantis and Valyria hung Prince Garin the Great in a golden cage after defeating the Rhoynar in the Second Spice War. Garin allegedly called upon Mother Rhoyne to destroy the invaders with a curse, and that night the river's waters rose to destroy the Volantines and Valyrians. The spirits of the drowned Dragonlords are said to remain beneath the water, however, and their cold breath rises to become fog. There was a Palace of Love once in Croyan, where lovers got married. There were gardens bright with flowers and fountains sparkling golden in the sun. Its steps once rang to the sound of lovers' footsteps, and beneath the dome marriages beyond count were sealed with a kiss. Tyrion Lannister observed that Palace of Love must have been 10 times the size of the Red Keep, and 100 times more beautiful. Now this place is called the Palace of Sorrow, and whole abandoned city sorrows. Mists rule the sorrows, and stone men, people in late stages of grayscale disease, roam the ruins, often being seen on the Bridge of Dream. They are rumored to have a leader, the Shrouded Lord, also known as His Great Grace, and the Prince of Sorrows, a mysterious figure, though many say he's just a legend. He is said to rule the mists around the Sorrows since the time of Garin, and to spread the grayscale through the Grey Kiss. According to some rumors, he is thought to be Prince Garin himself, raised from his watery grave. Others believe that there have been numerous Shrouded Lords, and when one dies, another one takes his place, and the one currently holding the title is a pirate from the Basilisk Isles. Yet there is another version of the tale, in which a Shrouded Lord was a statue at first, and a grey woman from the fog kissed life to it with lips as cold as ice. It is also said that the Shrouded Lord will grant a boon to any man who can make him laugh. Thrice each year the Triarchs of Volantis send a galley upriver with provisions for the stone men. It is considered they become violent mostly because of starvation, rather than madness. Half-sunken architecture and statues pose threats to passing boats in Sorrows. Many travelers become lost in the thick fog of those waters, eventually succumbing to madness, hunger, or stone men. There has not been love above the Sorrows for 1,000 years, so pirates are common in the ruin north of it, although they do not enter the ruined city. Arnoy was a great city of the Rhoynar, famed for its green marble halls. It was destroyed following the Rhoynish Wars, along with other Rhoynish cities. Goyandroa was a fair place, green and flowering, a city of canals and fountains, but now the canals are choked with reeds and mud, and pools of stagnant water give birth to swarms of flies. The broken stones of temples and palaces sink back into the earth, and gnarled old willows grow thick along the river banks. Nisar contained the palace of Princess Nymeria, but ruins are all that remains of a colossal palace of pink and green marble, with its collapsed domes and broken spires looming large above a row of covered archways. Cities full of crooked walls and fallen towers, broken domes and rows of rotted wooden pillars, streets choked by mud and overgrown with purple moss. Sarmel sits on the eastern bank of the Rhoyne, and almost directly across the river to the west sits the city of Volontaris. During the Rhoynish Wars, Sarmel, a pale city known for its flowers, fought with Volontaris, a colony of the Valyrian freehold at that time. Sarmel was burned during the First Turtle War, while half of Volontaris was washed away when the Rhoynar used water magic during that conflict. According to legend, this first conflict between two great civilizations began when the Valyrians killed a gigantic turtle, one of those called the Old Man of the River, by the Rhoynar. During the Second Spice War, Volontaris faced the host of the Rhoynish prince Garin the Great. The Valyrians lost that battle, and Volontaris was flooded once again. Eventually, though, Sarmel was ruined towards the end of that last conflict, and its people were enslaved by Valyria. Having abandoned the Rhoyne, most Rhoynar adopted the faith of the Seven in Westeros. Their Dornishmen are being differentiated as stony, sandy, and salty. The salty Dornishmen are held to have the most Rhoynish blood, being dark-haired, olive-skinned, and living close to the shore. The salty Dornishmen no longer speak the language of the ancient Rhoynar, although they do speak the common tongue with a distinctive drawl. Some descendants of the Rhoynar, though, did not assimilate, and continue to practice the traditions of their ancestors. Called the Orphans of the Greenblood, these individuals live on rafts along the river Greenblood and consider themselves orphaned from their Mother Rhoyne. They are of pure Rhoynar blood and still speak the Rhoynish language in secret. Lamas Longstrider, the famous traveler, once met descendants of the Rhoynar in the ruins of the festival city of Coroyan, who told him their tales of a darkness that made the Rhoyne River dwindle and disappear, her waters frozen. The return of the sun came only when a hero convinced Mother Rhoyne's many children, lesser gods such as the Crab King and the Old Man of the River, to join together to sing a secret song that brought back the day. Perhaps one day a song will be sung that will bring the Rhoynar back to their mother.